and on Spreaker. So you can listen to me if you go to jamesrobertdeal.org/radio, you'll see the links either to the YouTube stream or to the Spreaker stream, which is non-visual. In other words, it's just audio. So those are smaller files, and you can download those podcast items. Now, with regard to the YouTube version, I haven't figured out yet how to splice in the background that I want to show you, which is my favorite website, and when we're talking about real estate. So we're going to talk about, first of all, down payment assistance. The state of Washington will provide you with up to 4% of the purchase price. Now, that doesn't have to be paid back until you sell the property or refinance the property. And my understanding is that there are no monthly payments. I'm sure of that. And I don't think it bears interest. So if you focus on buying a FHA, where the down payment is 3.5%, and you can get 4.5% down payment assistance. Now your down payment may be more than 3.5% if you count the closing costs. So you might need 1 or 2% down, but that's not a lot. That adds opportunity for you to get into a property you couldn't otherwise get into. The requirements for credit scores are not very high. You can qualify for FHA in the 600s. But that brings us to another question. What if you don't have enough income? Because you're going to need to calculate what income is needed at various price levels. So if you buy a starter home at $450,000, you would have to go online and search for an amortizing calculator and find out how much your mortgage payment would be. Well, if you're only paying 3 or 4% down, you might need at least $2,000 a month to cover the P&I, and another $500 to cover the taxes and the insurance. So you're up to $2,500. The general rule of thumb is that you need around 3 times your gross income to qualify for a loan. So what if you don't make $7,500 a month? Does that mean you can't buy? Or maybe you can buy a house that's only $100,000. Well, I'm sorry, in this part of Washington, there are no homes for sale for $100,000. So what do? Well, one of the things you should be thinking of is buying in partnership. So let's say 2 couples get along well, or let's say that you have a grandma who lives with you and she's getting $1,500 Social Security every month. Let's say that you've got a cousin who's married. Okay, you put 2 couples together and grandma, and put all of them on title, and you have a partnership agreement, and you have together $7,500 in income. Now, the typical American is going to say, I want to own my own house and I want privacy and I don't want anybody else around. Well, that's a great goal to strive for. And eventually you can get there. But you get there by buying the first house in partnership because you don't qualify yet for buying a big house on your own. So you buy in partnership. And then after a few years, you turn the partnership around and you turn that house into a rental and you go buy another house in partnership. Then the group owns 2 homes, and do that a 3rd time, and you've got 3 homes. And now each of the partnership group has his own private home. Plus you've got 2 rentals, part interest in 2 rentals. Now that's an aggressive plan. And just remember that you get a lot more house for your money. 2 families could go buy 2 $450,000 starter homes, total cost $900,000. Or they could come here to Cedarhurst and buy a 3,000 square foot home for $650,000. So half of that is what? $650,000 is $325,000 on average for the two families. If it's three families, well, you divide it three ways, and you're under $200,000 purchase price for each couple or each buyer group that's part of this partnership. Now, if you use James Robert Deal as your real estate broker to help you buy, then I will provide you with a partnership agreement, and I won't charge extra for that. I'll also give you preliminary consultation and explain the whole process. Look at your credit scores, look at your income. I'll even talk to you about your wills and what's possible. And also, if you need to set up an LLC or a corporation, I'll talk to you about that. With rental property, that's probably a good idea to segregate all the finances and limit some of the risk. Although I will tell you that your best protection when you own rental property is not trying to hide it in an LLC. You do the LLC for tax reasons. The reason for the way to protect yourself is not hiding it in an LLC, but instead having really good insurance coverage. Now, for only a few dollars a month, most insurance companies will sell you the $1 million coverage or the $2 million over the risk coverage that you might need in case somebody slips and falls, or a child does something silly like stick his hand in the fire on the gas stove. You can't imagine all the ways people can hurt themselves, and insurance has a purpose and a place. So I would say that here we are in December. It's Christmas Day. Ho, ho, ho. I'm going to start some background music here. And this is a song I wrote. Let's see. Yeah, it's running now. And this fits the Christmas season. It is the Our Father, who art in heaven. I never have liked any of the other versions of the Our Father, so I sat down and wrote my own. So we'll keep talking while this is going on. And that's Jimmy Deal humming in the background and playing the piano and playing the flute. I haven't added the drum part yet. I need a timpani sound. Let me take a look at my outline here. Now at 9 o'clock, I'm going to come back with a political show, and the main topic is going to be how we can eliminate traffic congestion. And there is a way to do that with door-to-door transit. Pick people up at their house, take them to the transit station or the Green Line bus stop or to the grocery store, and people can summon rides with their cell phone, with a telephone, with a computer, with a pager, or by flagging down the well, where's my YouTube picture here? This is pretty rough, guys. I'm doing it for the first time. Now, the other thing I'd like to talk about is, have Have you ever considered being a real estate agent? It's a pursuit that will, to start with, it's going to educate you a lot. If you want to own real estate, why not study real estate? So you go to realestateschool.org. Then you call them up and you say, give me the James Deal price. So instead of $300, the online course will cost you maybe $200. And at the end, they'll give you a booklet, and the owner is going to have a telephone seminar with you and tell you how to pass the test. So you pass the test and you get yourself licensed and you join a real estate office like Keller Williams in Everett. That's where I hang my license, and I'm also a managing broker. So I can be your managing broker. And the good thing about that is that for the first 2 years, you have to have a managing broker, and you give like half of your income to your managing broker, who does all the deals, all of your deals with you. And the sales shtick, in other words, the thing that will attract your customers, whether the buyers or sellers, is that you can tell them that you do everything real estate wise with Attorney Deal, who's also a managing broker, including a free initial consultation. You're going to participate in that. And we're going to talk about how they can buy, the credit score they need, the income they need, buying in partnership. And I didn't mention before that, let's say that you're hung up on having privacy. So you don't want to buy a big house and all live there jointly. If you do live jointly, you're going to need a house sharing agreement as well as your partnership agreement, because people have to behave. And I lived in a co-op house right after law school. And the thing that I negotiated was we clean our dishes immediately after using them. We do not put them in the sink, because if your dishes are in the sink, I can't wash my dishes until yours are washed. So I end up washing your dishes. And there are a lot of things like that that you need to cover. So having lived jointly in a co-op house, I have a feel for the kind of things you need to cover. And also, what if one of your partners decides, well, they're moving across the country? Well, you've got to have a provision in there that says how that person is going to be bought out. And it's got to be gradual, because you can't expect the group to refinance the house. Refinancing is costly. But that's one of the things that would be negotiated. Now, since I'm representing not just one buyer, I'm representing two buyers or maybe three buyers, I've got to disclose to you that there's a potential conflict, and say to you that this partnership agreement is a draft. You've got to discuss the final version with your own attorney. So I would, among the buyers, I would serve as a mediator. Now, back to the idea of becoming a real estate agent, I urge you to call me and discuss that, 425-774-6611. You notice I'm wearing my little fingerless gloves. The joke is, gosh, can't even afford gloves with fingers. Well, in the wintertime, I like it because we usually keep the temperature around 68, which is a little chilly, but I can type with these fingerless gloves and still keep my hands warm. Let me say a few positive things about Keller Williams. We have more real estate agents, brokers than any other company. And if you become part of Keller Williams, you too can recruit other real estate agents. And then you make a commission on all of the real estate agents that you recruit down 7 levels. And you keep that for life. As long as those people that you recruited are still alive, you're going to get a percentage on them. So that's one of the reasons why I'm becoming a managing broker, is that I can have my own downline, my own trainees. And I'm also encouraging real estate my own I'm encouraging other attorneys to become attorney brokers because you can give better service to people. The commission is more than the attorney would normally charge for a final review. And the problem with those final reviews is it's too late. It's really too late to help people. They may have also already made some silly mistakes. So if you are serving as the real estate agent for your buyer, you can afford to put more time into this and look at everything about it from very beginning to the very end, deliver a better service to your client, make a better fee. And if you join a team like mine, then the team members will take care of things like helping you to value the house, making recommendations as to how to increase the sale price, signage, flyers, advertising, and showing up at open houses. So, and the attorney's job is going to be to examine all the paperwork, the title report, look at the boundaries, and give full advice to the buyer or seller from beginning to end. So that's my project, is to create a team of attorney brokers. Next, we get back to this idea that you do want to buy, but you only qualify for $200,000 purchase price. Your income is about, you can only qualify for a house that doesn't exist. So what you do is you buy in partnership. Now, if you want your privacy, then instead of buying one big house and living in it together, you could buy a threeplex or a fourplex. So again, FHA allows up to fourplex, and FHA has only a 3.5% down, and state of Washington has 4% down payment assistance. And with FHA, you can be in the 600s and qualify. So organize your partnership group. And if you buy a threeplex and there's 3 units, 3 families, then each of you has privacy. If there are 4 of you, you can go up to a fourplex. If you're going up to a 5-plex, you're probably still going to need 10 to 20% down because FHA doesn't go up to 5 units. But FHA does go up to about 1.2 million if you're buying a fourplex. So consider that opportunity. Now, let's see. I think there was one more thing I wanted to say, that I'm posting a press release. I'm going to put it on PR Web about eliminating traffic congestion and how we can change our system of getting around so that you don't need to own a car. Wouldn't that be nice? Well, that's the solution, and it's door-to-door transit. Now, I also do, I help for sale by owners. You know, if you can't sell it, I'll take your listing. If you do find a buyer, then I can put the deal together and get it through closing. So call James at 425-774-6611. Now, I also do commercial. So, and I also do a lot of co-brokering. I help other brokers when they need legal help. Instead of taking potluck and having your buyer or seller go out and just pick a real estate attorney at random, you brokers should call me up. There's no charge for the discussion. We'll figure out what my payment is going to be. I can take payment at closing just like you, either I can take payment as an attorney or as a broker. In either case, I can usually quote a flat fee payable at closing. A lot of people like that. I make more that way, but I can also provide more service. And a lot of times people come to me right at the very end, look at these papers. And I say, too bad you didn't come to me sooner. You know, these are already signed. Your purchase agreement is signed. And now we're at closing, and I'm sorry, we can't change this. So call me before you buy or sell, and maybe 6 months before, because it takes a lot of planning. If you're self-employed, you're going to have to report all your income, and you're going to have to get your taxes straight and your profit and loss statement straight. And I'll refer you to an accountant who'll help you do that. Well, what does all this have to do with Christmas? I just decided I would do this on Christmas Day, because I want to wish all of you a Happy New Year. There's no way that I could send out letters or cards to all the 3,200 people on my contact list, and so I'm making this little video. So here I'm going to close out with a song I wrote that's sort of Christmassy, but not entirely. It's semi-autobiographical. I was sitting by her side when my mother died at 90. Dying won't be so bad, she said. In heaven, I can smoke if I want. Son, I think I'm ready. She asked me how to die. Stop breathing, that might help, I said, and soon she was released. Follow your truth wherever it leads, and do not fear the truth you may find. Nice thing about playing my own music is I don't have to ask some other musician for permission. So come back at 9 o'clock. Go to jamesrobertdeal.org/radio. And I'll try to do it both on the Spreaker podcast and also on YouTube. So I'm having trouble getting that music to play. Let me see here. Effects. Turn up the effects. So microphone sources and output comes from Yeti. Let's see. This particular song has a very long lead in. Do do do. Well, so I think I'll just probably cut off the end of this one. So good evening. I'll say goodbye. Thank you.